Good evening, travelers of the night. The stars above are watching, and they know what you've done. So to avert their gaze, let's play Dungeons & Dragons with a roll for impact. I'll be your dungeon master, Wesley, but you can call me Wes. In our previous escapade, we discovered Valadin, a unique automaton fashioned by Cogsworth, the hermetic engineer beneath the Salted Stout Inn. Esperanca visited her favorite doctor, Lord Felix Royce, and Dr. Glass reconnected with her old, I'm putting air quotations up, friend, Dr. Hypatia Singer. But most concerningly, the sleepless Esperanca had a vision of the group's downfall at the party of Lord Felix Royce, which culminated in the murder of Dr. Isadora Glass. Armed with this information, what will the group do to avert this tragedy? Join us as we thicken the plot for The Stranger, our episodic D&D actual play podcast. We witness Shane embody Trevor the Heartless, Asteria bring life to Dr. Isadora Glass, Ari anchor the resolve of Esperanca, and Matt devoutly guide Nylus, and Slim, as the bag of bolts that is Valadin, find a spot by the window, the night's cool breeze your companion, as we venture together into the unknown depths of our narrative. Let's roll the intro. Night falls over the asylum. A palpable stillness envelops the building, punctuated by the distant, unsettling sounds of yells, mutters, whispers. The courtyard and the various open windows in the building giving you an audible glance into the dissatisfaction of the many people being housed in various rooms here. You hear the occasional creak of the old wooden floorboards, as if the building itself is settling uncomfortably into the ground. Esperanca, you've found your room, and Nylus von Stonen, the one next door, is yours. And Valadin, having not much else to do over a long night, you stand watch as you did the night before. I can only presume. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
And would you be doing that in one of the rooms or in the hallway between the two?
In the hallway between the two.
Occasionally there's the wheeling of a gurney down the hall, the squeaking of its metal wheels. You then hear frantic footsteps of nurses coming from one side to the other as one of the doors on the far end is being banged at by some crazy person in that room. You see them go in, thrust the door open, inject them with something, and then slowly lower them to the ground to be wheeled off yet again. This happens in the first few hours of you standing outside. Esper and Nylus, you're able to get whatever amount of rest you want so far. And after some time, a nurse walking down the hall from the left side to the other, whistling as he uses the baton to tap each door frame as he walks by before checking the door, opening the knob, looking inside, and then closing it, almost like a prison guard, the way that he confidently walks through the halls, is one door away from yours with your two companions as he walks up and sees you standing out front.
Valadin would turn towards the man as he approaches. Good evening.
Hey. I've got to check the rooms. Hope you don't mind.
No problem. I mentioned my companions might be sleeping still.
I'll be real quiet as he turns the doorknob and looks inside Esper's room first, peeking in to see the bed. And what does he see when he looks in?
He sees, if the room is well lit enough, the short stature of Esper, knees tucked to the chest, arms looped around them, and the reflection of whatever light he emanates of this deep purple shade, and every slight movement flashes it over again instead to an intense green and then back to a purple. She's clearly awake, and she is watching him the moment he comes into the room, but doesn't outwardly respond.
Let's see. Looks at his clipboard, crosses a little box off the list, and silently closes the door, just briefly making eye contact with Esper. As the door creaks closed, he looks back. Well, everything's fine in there. He walks around you, Valadin, to the next one.
As he walks around, Valadin will steal a glance at the clipboard. Beyond the room numbers, are there any times?
Please roll a perception check.
9.
The names are hard to catch off of this clipboard, but you see the rooms numbered 1 through 40. You see the wing, the west wing. As he walks by, you can tell he's visited each door so far just once. This is his first round. But you see on his clipboard, each one has 3 boxes. Presumably, 3 visits throughout the night. He grabs the doorknob and slowly opens it, creaks the door open, and looks inside to Nylus's room. What will he see?
The first thing that would be obviously noticeable is 2 candles currently being lit. If there would be some form of desk, otherwise even on the floor, lighting around, forming a small circular light around some incense that has been lit. It's not a comfortable sight.
He, without closing the door, looks over to Valadin for a second. Gotta go take care of those candles. You know how they are about open flames. Or maybe you don't, I don't know. And he takes a step.
Oh, don't worry. I'll do it myself. You can check my room next to Nylus's. I have a word to have with him.
Sure. He steps out and he stands in the doorway as he watches you go across and extinguish the candles. Nylus, if you like, you could hear this. It's up to you. And
Valadin would. Is Nylus sleeping or attempting to sleep?
Attempting to, honestly, with a single sound like that, the trolley's going about, he's not having a good night's rest. Any slight movement that he would hear, he would jump awake uncomfortably, and he would notice, kind of staring.
Pardon for extinguishing your flames. Apparently it goes against the hospital's protocols.
I understand.
If you don't mind, I would like to have a word with you, Miss Esper. Unless you wish to continue attempt to sleep.
Honestly, I couldn't get a single eye closed properly. It's so with every movement, I feel like there's someone going to barge in the door. You know the feeling of the winds being quiet right before there's a storm approaching, like an earthquake about to happen, and suddenly there's silence. There's a chill about this place. I do not like. Please, a word, a conversation, any distraction would be more than welcome.
Then let us see if Miss Esper is up for it. As Valadin will lead you out of the room to Esper's room and knock gently on the door with his knuckles.
There will be a pause of silence in there, but shortly after, the soft shuffle of movement against the sheets, and then a harder sound as the boots touch to the floor. And shortly after, Esper will open the door. Yes?
Pardon for interrupting you during the night. I would like to have a word with you both before we reunite with Glass and Trevor.
All right. And Esper will gently walk over the threshold of the door, ease her door shut as if she's making the concerted effort to make as minimal noise as possible with that door in order to shut it. And then we'll move over instead to the much more presumably homely room that Nylus is occupying.
Nylus is sitting in bed on the furthest away corner from the door. It looks like there's plenty of room left on the other side of the bed. It looks like he's grabbing his Testimonium Veritas, just holding it out of comfort perhaps. It's a bit of a heavy tome, but holding it close either way.
How much light is in these rooms?
There's no electric light in this part of the building. It's an old building. All the light you have is that which is cast by the moon, which is a full moon tonight. So there's a gentle glow coming from the window.
Okay. This is Valadin's first full day with us, so this is certainly the first for him. But also this is going to be the first for Nylus, I think, where he's going to see, as Esper enters the room, between moments of the shade and where the beams of moonlight enter into the room, Esper's eyes are reflective. They switch back and forth between shades of purple and shades of green. It's not something that you would normally see in a humanoid person, but it's there. And she seems on edge, but also certainly willing to come in and make herself somewhat comfortable in the room.
Are you all right, dear?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to find much peace until we get out of here.
I can imagine so. I'm glad you did get what you came here for in the first place. Although, there's something ominous about this place to begin with.
Regarding that, Esper, do you have any of the bottles that Dr. Faust gave you?
Oh, if you would like to take them, by all means.
And
Sling the
do you have
backpack.
any of the ones you had from the day before?
Yes, I've been taking them when I should. They're gonna sling their backpack off the shoulder, put it down gently, have to ruffle around, pull out the belt of the 7 doses of this red ether, this strange stuff. That is going to be laid over Nylus's bed near him, kind of as far away as Esper can reach it. And then after that, pulling out 9 doses of regular slow ether, setting that a little closer to herself, as if she's clearly more comfortable with one than the other.
Valadin will carefully take a bottle of each and hold them up into the moonlight, comparing the consistency of both liquids inside the glass bottles. Why do you take these, Esper?
I had to come back on these when I made the deal to come to the island. You see, slow ether, it's a sort of calming drug. It's supposed to slow things down for you a little. For some, it might help with sleep. Things are a little less chaotic.
The way I see it, we're in a bit of a bind. We used Dr. Glass's name and bought you some time. But it's apparent to me that Dr. Faust does not have your best in mind regarding his
He
analysis.
wants to keep me. He wants to keep me under his watch again, I know.
While we may be able to leave here in the morning, we might be forced, or you might be forced to return to acquire more of these bottles. I was thinking, taking a supply for us, ones that have not been tainted by Dr. Faust. What do you think, Nylus?
I'm not sure I follow your train of thought on how to acquire these bottles, but the essence of what you're saying could indeed be valuable. But before we venture into that particular path, Esper, please savor my curiosity. What is it made of, this ether?
You're asking the wrong person, honestly.
Wouldn't it be important for you to know what's in it?
I'm on the patient side of the doctor and patient relationship. It's not... They've told me it's not really my business to know how or what, only to accept it.
That's so interesting that you're willing to take at least to such large amounts of particular substance without knowing particularly what's inside of it. I would love to learn more about it someday, or perhaps someday soon. Maybe with the right ingredients and the right assistance, we could get a supply of our own.
Perhaps, but you have to realize, ever since I set sail on the ship to get here, I've been monitored. If I had been given these vials and nobody was around to watch to make sure that I had been taking them, I'd have thrown them overboard right away. It's not... I'm given freedom by being able to keep them on me, but all the same, I have to make sure that I take them. I'm forced to, no matter what.
But what if you don't? Simply stop taking them altogether.
Then I risk being seen in a bad light, They would think that I am being disobedient, and that would give them more reason to think that I need to stay here.
Of course, I do understand that particular interest they currently have over you in order to have a good grip on your freedom, to put it gently. But I'm thinking purely medically. If you were to stop taking this particular substance, what would be the side effects of it for you?
Oh.
Physically.
Well, I don't sleep very well. I don't sleep very often. I prefer to sort of just rest and spend a few hours just doing nothing. The problem is, especially without any ether, as much as I would rather not take it, it stops. It slows how many things that I see creeping around corners and out of shadows and things.
Oh dear. Have you tried some chamomile tea before? It does wonders for me when I'm going for a restless night.
I'm sorry, Mr. Nylus, but I do not
Nylus
have
is
normal restless nights.
Nylus is giving a wide smile, clearly just jagging a poker.
What I'm getting at, Esper, is first things first, attempting to get your independence back. I do not think these people will help you with whatever you are suffering from. We could acquire more bottles to give you more time and freedom, so you don't have to rely on them and take it to be on your best behavior. Take it only because it can help you. Or we could simply risk not coming back, but you would risk withdrawal symptoms.
Right now, the way that I'm looking at this is that this visit has gone much better than I thought it would ever go. We should be allowed to leave. I didn't want Dr. Glass's name to come out, but I think it's what we needed to be able to get out of here. It's time that we bought with that name. I'm not so sure I can think very clearly while I'm in this kind of place, so I'm not sure I can tackle that just yet.
A name not ours in the first place to begin with, even though we've been traveling with, lovely Glass. It's not our name, so I would indeed agree that our departure should be quick.
You hear in the courtyard past the windows the front door to the asylum slam open and frantic footsteps running across the courtyard.
Could someone close the door, please? It's making me uncomfortable.
You're probably going to hear things like that all night, to be honest. It's very common in these sorts of hospitals.
Not sure that's what I would call this place.
You hear a gunshot echo out through the night air.
There's absolutely no kind of reaction from Esper. It seems like a noise that she might just be used to.
That definitely does not seem like something that should take place here.
It does. Anyway, but really, back on track. I think we need to get back to Dr. Glass as soon as we can. I'm worried about her since the dream that I had. And we'll tell her about this. And I really don't mind if anybody wants to take a look at either of these more closely. I don't. But I'm not completely sure what to do with it yet.
But I don't remember particular instructions prohibiting us from taking a stroll.
I was just on the same mind to do that. Esper, Nylus, would you care to stretch your legs alongside mine?
What else to do but on a restless night? We should have proper authorizations to do as we please. If not, we'll be sure to learn from whoever stops us.
They're not going to like that. I don't.
If they ask, we're going to the bathroom. Safety in numbers.
But I did hear a gunshot just now. Bit worried about that.
Has there
Might
been
want to
any more
investigate.
noise after the gunshot?
Standing at the head of the room on the opposite side of the bed near the closet, the window in the courtyard, or the window rather, and the courtyard below, you can't see it from where you are, but you hear dragging outside and a couple footsteps beside it, heading back towards the front door.
Please, can we just try to sleep? And in the morning we'll go and we can come back when maybe we have Dr. Glass and Trevor. Just leave it for now.
I understand you. I wouldn't want to worry you. You've been in more situations in an area like this than I have. I shall take heed to your wisdom. Stay my foot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you like to join me in prayer?
I appreciate your offer, but I don't think so. I don't pray.
I didn't at first either.
Nobody starts their life tied to whatever is up there.
Well, whatever is up there, in my experience, is trying to help us down here, however they can. It's just for us to find that light, find the hand that is reaching out, and then hold on tightly.
There's a kind of curl into Esper's lips that forms a bit of a mirthful smile, and she looks for the first time at Nylus with an air of confidence. Mr. Nylus, I don't think everything that reaches out to you from somewhere in the sky is something helpful.
Sorry to hear that you think that way, dear. I do.
I certainly will not stop you from praying to what you believe in, of course.
That's quite alright. Say, Valadin, are you a construct of prayer?
No.
I see some burned etchings on your armor, your materials. Is that of particular reason?
No. They used to show the sigils of a noble house, the one that found me beneath Crow Perch. I cut ties with them. It would have been complicated to wear their symbol was activities I participated in afterwards.
Valadin, from the many questions I've asked you already about your automaton creation itself, this might be the most interesting subject of topic that you've mentioned to me all this time. How am I going to sleep now?
You can get past the fact that this is just a man made out of metal?
Well, in its own words, it's not a man.
Well, that's part of the woe about it.
A woe factor indeed, a blessing by the gods.
There's a lot of woe about you, Mr. Valadin. I'm not sure really how you.
I'm not sure, really. A person I spent a great deal of time with assumed, or had the hypothesis that I was simply a bunch of magical spells pre-written, programs she called them, that would indicate my ability to learn, react, observe. It seemed rather preposterous to me to deal on that for so long. In the end, I think I am. Find the word funny, program, pre-written.
That would take a great amount of preparations. The lines and lines of incantations. Sorry, someone help me. What is the word?
Incantation.
Incantation?
And thankfully, she did not take me apart to find out if I am simply a spell, still working, or something a bit more like you, just being.
That's very wow, though. I mean, you're made of magic. I've never met something made from magic before.
In a way, you and Nylus are also made from magic.
On that, we agree.
Where do you come from? Who made you? The gods that Nylus takes his magic from, I presume.
I come from Bluebrook.
Where is that?
Oh, well, it was a couple of days of wagon as well, and then there was a couple of days of ship. It's far from here, but I'm sure there's farther places that it could be.
That's where you came from. Where would you like to go?
Bluebrook.
Where would I like to go?
Yes.
Esper's face kind of goes from being almost a little on the chipper side. It seems like the conversation had kind of eased them a little bit and made them perk up somewhat, but now it falls into something more morose. The smile is absolutely devoid from their face, and their eyes unfocused for a moment. I mean, I would go home. I would go back to my home.
Somewhere else, specifically Blackthorn University for the Arcane Void, Dr. Glass and Trevor, you're at the door to the office of Dr. Hypatia Singer. As you step outside, she holds the door with one hand and gives a gentle wave with her hand towards Dr. Glass. So lovely seeing you again, Dr. Glass.
Yes.
Dora, please do visit more. I mean it. You're here on this island and friends are hard to come by. On Crow Perch.
I expect I'll take you up on that, Hypatia. I've been told I spent too much time pushing friends away. And she glances at Trevor. And I hope your husband's doing well.
Yes. He is. She almost looks surprised by the comment, and
Isadora looks surprised that she said it.
Trevor is surprised in general.
We're all surprised.
The way back is past, in that direction, past the medical wing, and there's a small halfway house, if it's too late to travel back to the port.
Yes, I thought that might be the case. I did bring some things for tomorrow, just in case. I wasn't sure how things... I don't know if I'll see you there at the party tomorrow. I don't know if I want to, after all we've discussed about the hosts.
If you think it best I stay back, I'll stay back. You tell me. Should I come?
She hesitates. And very reluctantly she says, unless you consider yourself a close ally of the Van Thorns, I suspect you should send regrets about your terrible head cold.
I understand. I think it's best that I recuse myself from this one, but don't think that's an excuse not to find me at the next gathering, Dora.
Of course. There'll certainly be a next time, I'm sure.
Well, I know our goodbyes will last forever, so goodbye, Dora. I'll see you soon. And she gently closes the door, almost breaking eye contact just before the edge and closing it.
Kind of, Trevor, hearing the click of the door, just kind of turns around and says, I think that went pretty well. I mean, there was a lot of stuff back there. A lot of stuff. I don't know if I can work it all in my noggin, but, you should be friendly more often.
Yes, in my defense, I did want to be friendly longer with Dr. Singer. But, yes, there is a lot to... She did have more information than... I'm actually a bit disturbed by how much she knew about what I was talking about.
Well, I mean, that's the reason you came here, though, right? It's because this university is like, it's like the best. You know, Crow Perch is like on what was you saying? It was like a new...
A consonant point, yes.
That's it. A little point.
Well done, Trevor.
I mean, you said it. But like, yeah, she know a lot, right? This whole place is where it all happens.
You seem to be catching on to a theme with me lately, Trevor, where I go looking for answers and I'm unhappy when I find them. There's not really I really don't know what the plan is. I just know that everything's been leading me here. I don't know what any of it means, though.
Yeah, I get that.
You head down the halls, and it's interesting, this university. Marble floors with intricate patterns, expensive, to say the least. Wings, entire wings dedicated to subject matter of study. You pass by some of them, and as you get closer to the front entrance, you find the medical wing is the last one before you get to the door.
Miss Singer, she said something about, like, us being able to bunker down for the night, right?
Yes. Which I think is necessary and likely wise.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure where, but there must be an administrator we could ask.
Oh. Okay. I mean...
Do you want to check in here? I'm a doctor. They usually give me information.
Yeah. You know, these ain't my people. I don't really know what to say.
Well, let's poke our heads around, and I can ask.
All right.
I am sort of supposed to be here, even if I'm early.
Yeah. I mean, you must feel like a kid in a candy store.
A little bit. Watching Hypatia stitch up that cadaver, did that do something for you the way it did something for me? Because that was gorgeous. I mean, she was always a smooth operator, but that was really next level. Just me? That's all right.
I think we hit a bit of a snag, like a crossroads, and I mean, I ain't gonna say that weren't impressive. I mean, the magic that she's got is great.
Right, that's what I'm talking. It was impressive magic and impressive medicine. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I know what she was saying. Yeah.
Let's go. I'll hold. Why don't you get the door?
You see a door nearby. It's a light on the inside. Glass in the front with a name on it, Dr. Argus Stewart. It's in the medical wing, the first door, actually. It looks like an administrative office, not necessarily a lecture hall.
Wait, so question. Is a door a glass?
Ha
That's it.
I should have held on to that longer. A dream sequence or something.
I had a friend, every time I said the door was slightly ajar, he's like, Wesley, is it a door or a jar? I'm like, oh, I hate you.
Sorry, where were we before I ruined the campaign?
Right.
What was the name?
The door's a light. The glass in the window, you can see candlelight flickering, and you see Argus Stewart.
Would that name mean anything to me? Probably not.
History? Be a high DC.
I got no fucking clue.
Oh. That would be an 8. I don't know every doctor who's ever existed.
Doesn't sound familiar. Every doctor knows every doctor, right?
We've had a good run.
Networking pro.
You hear the scribble of quill on paper, writing from the inside. Pretty, aggressive writing. Like somebody is burning the midnight oil and getting a lot of work done.
Oh, here. This guy's up. You hear that?
Yes.
Here.
Good, someone's still available.
He'll kind of sidle his way up to the door and just give a little knuckle rap on the surface, the glass surface of the door.
Come in.
All right. Gonna open up. Peek his head in. Hi, you're you see he closes the door again, and you see the silhouette of Trevor's shape kind of obscured by as he starts reading the front door. Opens it up again. Argus Stewart?
He looks up at you like a man who doesn't recognize you. He's got students, he's got faculty, and he hasn't seen you before, so there's a curiosity that comes upon his face. Yes? Come on in. Make yourself comfortable. Here. He stands from his desk and walks over to the side and pours a couple glasses of water and puts them down on the desk in front of him. What can I do for you folks?
I'm sorry, did the door say doctor?
It did. Dr. Argus Stewart. Yep.
Pardon us for interrupting, Dr. Stewart. My name is Dr. Glass. I'm a visiting lecturer for the coming semester. This is Trevor, who's accompanying me. Dr. Singer just sent us on our way, and she'd mentioned some sort of way station or halfway house. Apparently, we maybe have missed the flyover back to Port Hillcrest for the evening. Do you know anyone who can direct us?
Yes, I'm happy to help. Right out the front door, you'll see a small, what looks like a carriage house near the gate. Guests can stay there. They have some beds. It's not fancy. It's common communal living. But it's as good as it gets around here. And you said Dr. Singer. I've seen her around. She's quite bright.
Yes, that she certainly is.
Wonderful. Well, if that's it, then I'm happy to have helped. But another fellow doctor, and he goes over to shake your hand. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other around quite a bit.
Yes,
your name was again Dr.
Dr. Isadora Glass, alienist.
Isadora Glass, an alienist. You've come to the right place.
Huh? Is that your specialty as well, Dr. Stewart?
No. I'm a medical doctor, a surgeon. A glorified physiologist. But here at the university, alienism would go a long way. I'm sure there'd be a lot of professors bending your ear.
Well, I think that's why I've been invited. I'm very excited to see how my studies interact with the specialties here at Blackthorn.
And you, sir, Dr.
Trevor. Sorry.
Dr. Trevor?
Dr. Glass just watches. She's not going to help at all.
What? It sounds nice, but I'd be lying if I mean, I could say I'm a doctor, but you'd figure that ain't true. Moment the second sentence come out, I'm just Trevor.
I got you. Well,
I mean, I'm just here with we're work buddies. I get acquaintances is what she says. So, I'm just drinking in the sights. This is a lot for me.
You can probably tell Dr. Stewart, and she references her cane. Travel can be a bit difficult for me, and Trevor is indispensable in my research and most logistical matters. He's very capable.
I completely understand. You need, especially in this place, good help. So, he looks over at Trevor. Glad you're there to help.
Yeah. You said you was a surgeon? Do you do, what is it you do here? Did people come in for surgeries, or is there do you have patients? That seems weird for a professor, right?
I occasionally am called into the Citadel when there's a high-profile surgery, but I'm mostly in study now. It's in the theoretical, some might say. I'll be honest, I don't pick up the knife far often enough, but when I do, it's special, unique. I've had a couple of weird growths recently, curses put onto minors that anyway, it's a long story, and also some private information, but that's the gist of it.
I assume you mean those who work in the mines, not young people?
No, like kids?
Yes, of course. No, not kids. The mining community is sprawling, but everybody counts. So, even the nobles want to, he says this with a bit of disdain, protect their assets.
Right. As is their right. So you do more thinking about surgery than doing it.
Yeah, mostly in the theoretical.
Right. Theoretical.
Yes, in my specialty, it's very common for academics to also practice, but in the more physical medical fields, that can be difficult just because of time. You need to stay practiced, and surgery can take forever.
The reason I'm here at this university is there's a lot of cross-pollination of study. Those who study void magic might have insights that I, as a humble surgeon, can use to treat more specific ailments, those that are less common.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Doctor. I gotta keep calling docs, I just...
We don't mind it.
Yeah, well, they mind if I don't call them it, so, I'm gonna keep calling you that. So, thanks. We're probably gonna be staying the night, so, we just gotta figure out where that is, and you've been, super helpful, so, man, I don't know. I'm kind of overwhelmed by this place. Dr. Glass.
Yes, Trevor.
Do you mind figuring out where that is? I just, I got a thing I gotta do.
And she barely pauses. She blinks. She says, but of course, Trevor. And Dr. Stewart, do you know if there's food available near the carriage house? Will I spot something?
We got a good community of travelers here, a lot of professors, and when they stay there, there's a little kitchenette. They leave things behind. Almost always something.
Perfect. Then, Trevor, I will hurry ahead. I'd love to see if I can get a pot of tea on post-haste. And perhaps scrounge something up.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be good. Great, even.
A pleasure to meet you, Dr. Stewart. You can have my card, though of course I'm not at that address for quite some time. Then she...
Yes, also, he opens his drawer and rummages around for a second and takes out a little coin and hands it to you. There's a small congregation of professors who trade notes and study together. If you're going to be here for some time, stop by.
Why, thank you. I'd like nothing better. She
Hands
takes
it
a look at
over.
the coin.
It bears a picture of a library. He says, "It's a library book token, but that's where we meet. It's just whoever's there in the evening at the end of the day. So just stop by. No pressure."
None experienced. Have a lovely evening, Dr. Stewart. I'll see you anon, Trevor.
Yeah, I'll
And
catch
she-
up with you. Trevor's actually going to
I have no doubt you'll catch up with me.
is going to exit the door with Dr. Glass, but is going to at some point deviate.
And she gives him a little bit of a look,
What?
just sort of, just a little, like, almost to say, like, you're not fooling me. Like, just I'm going ahead, but I know that you are dealing with something, and I'm going to ask you about it later, maybe. All in one little smug look that is then gone instantly. And then she's off.
Sure. He's going to do like a little like anxious lap around the area for the like basically when you're too early for a function and you don't want to seem like you're the person who showed up half an hour early for a party, so you just do like a little lap around the block to try and waste time. He kind of does that before coming back to Arx's door and giving a little knock still, but he's going to open up and come back in.
Oh, hey.
Hey. Yeah, it's just me this time. I just, and you see he kind of goes into the room, shuts it quietly behind him. I just, you know, you look at Dr. Glass and, you know, I need to be with her, but, you know, she can take care of herself. I kind of need to, and you see as he's walking towards Argus, he's kind of stammering, figuring out what he's going to say. I kind of need, Doctor, I need something looked at.
Yeah. It's no problem. He stands from his desk and he goes over to this cushioned table. He had some things stacked on. Doesn't get much use, but it's clearly a place for a patient to sit. He moves some books aside and drops them onto a desk with a dusty cloud. Come on, I haven't been able to do a checkup in years.
Trevor will kind of uneasily kind of walk over. I could have taken this to the hospital, St. Seraphina's or whatever, but I did this before a while back. It's a chronic ailment is what they called it, something that don't stop. I went to a bunch of people, bunch of doctors, bunch of healers, like people that, you know, cast like spells and stuff. And none of it really worked, and you know, best thing they could tell me is, you know, there's not really much they can do. They could give me stuff to block pain, but they can't really treat it. So, you know, and he kind of gets up on the table. When I heard that that Dr. Glass was coming to a place, you know, I'd overhear her talking about Crow Perch being like, you know, a place where they were trying stuff that pushed magic past where it was, you know?
Yeah.
I figure, hey, you know, it's my one shot. Kind of starts first unwrapping the wraps on his hands that he always kind of has there. And just kind of setting him aside. Everyone kind of has a different reaction to this, so I'm gonna warn you. This might be a lot, but I mean, I'm sure you're used to stuff like this, right?
Yeah, I'm not everyone. And he goes over to the drawer, pulls it out, and begins putting on some latex gloves. Is there latex in this world? I think there is. He starts putting on some latex gloves and stretches them with a snap.
It is done. Trevor just, right now, kind of takes off his long work jacket that covers up his sleeves and his chest. Now you see he's just wearing a kind of simple looking tank top, a little stained, but it has been washed. It's just the stain didn't quite get out. Some simple suspenders that he kind of shimmies off his shoulders, and you can see just behind the tank top he is completely covered from his neckline down to probably just at the start of where the chest meets the abdomen, is completely covered in bandages, some old, some new.
I can do this part. He goes over with an air of precision and formality. Man who's done this a million times. He grabs onto one of the bandages, untucks it from the other, slowly begins to unwrap. And what does he see as he reveals your chest?
From the outside, you can see some areas of his chest where the gray kind of fades into more like a gray splotch that kind of spider webs out from the center of his chest. As more and more bandages get removed, they grow darker and darker. There's a twinge of dark red of blood that is long since dried as he keeps revealing more and more until finally he reaches the source. And as he does so, Trevor's breathing starts to quicken. It never gets easier every time he has to show someone. And every time he breathes, just a stabbing pain courses through. And he has to remember that every time he breathes, it's like he's getting stabbed in the chest. And finally, with the last bandage revealed, kind of caked in a mixture of flaked off skin and dark red becoming black blood, there's a empty hole. There's like a bit of ink dropped into a cup of water that just sort of starts very dark at first and then slowly fades in the periphery. Just a dark pupil about the size of a fist in the center of his chest. There is scar tissue that extends along the torso, almost reaching his shoulders. There's a little bit of oozing What was at one point blood has coagulated into a viscous ichor that slowly runs down the center of his stomach, pooling in the ridges of his abdominal muscles. The muscle tissue itself is rotten. It's the only word to describe it. It's withered. It's rancid. The smell is awful. You can see where the rib cage has been pried open, healed, but incorrectly, making way for something, for the nothingness where his heart should be. And you can see with every ragged breath he gives, the movement of pale pink combined with gray splotches, just the inflation of the lungs pushing up against the fractured ribs. With every breath he takes,
there's an audible gulp that even he's surprised by. He looks you in the eye just briefly with a, "I hope you didn't hear that." He goes over to his drawer. "Yes. Let's take a closer look." Opens it up and takes out a little wooden stick with a cotton ball on the end. All right. And he goes and gives a light poke at the edge of the skin, just inside where the skin is hardened around this gaping hole due to the exposure to the air. So it's septic. I see necrosis of the skin. A little nervously, he pokes down at the pooling at the bottom, and it soaks into the cotton tip with this yellowish, blackish color to it. Gangrene. Might be infected. Some inflammation. How long have you been like this?
As the doctor is running through the prognosis, he kind of gives some nods. He's heard this before. When the question reaches him, he says, about a bit more than 4 years. No. What today's date is, so that's about 3 months after. About 4 years and 4.5 years.
He takes his clipboard and continues writing. I just have to take some more notes. Circulatory anomaly, electrical activity. He checks your pulse. No circulatory system. Vital sign paradox. Yet neurological functioning. Hemodynamic stability. He looks you in the eyes. What did you do? What happened? There's no feasible way you should be alive right now.
Do I have... You see, he's about to object to telling it.
I don't need details. I just need to know where this came from. You don't even have to tell me any specifics.
I don't know how much I can tell you. Because it was a while ago, and I try not to dwell on it, but there are parts I can't forget.
Hey, it's Trevor again. Calling you again. Tonight, I got some good news. The mission is officially a go. Good old Operation Wicked Winter is happening.
Okay, so... We was, I was a mercenary.
We are in the village of Fellbranch now. And thankfully, I'm now recording from a place with a roof, believe it or not. Cozy little inn that we're staying at tonight. They just call it the inn, though. I suppose when it's a small town like this, everything is just the thing. You know, you got the inn, you got the market, you got the blacksmith, stuff like that. But I like it here. It's a nice, small community, you know. It reminds me a lot of Beale. Everybody knows everybody.
We did jobs, all kinds. It didn't really matter. We was in a bog, a swamp. This was far from here. We were supposed to be checking out disappearances of some kids.
You know, it really weighs on my mind a lot, but I remind myself about why I'm doing this. You know, I'm doing this so that my little Elise can have the life that I ain't never had, that she can be smart, that she can be strong, and that people respect her, you know? I had to work from the ground up to get that, so it only makes sense that I do the same for her.
Not just kids, other people, too.
I tried to help her out as best I could, tell her that everything's gonna be alright, that we're gonna get them kids back. I don't even know if that's gonna be the case. I certainly hope so. Apparently they all went missing around the same time. And it weren't even just kids. Some of the younger adults, some older. It's like almost a ghost town in here.
Something was taking them. So, we tracked whatever did it to that bog, to a tree. I mean, like, a tree in a bog ain't like, it weren't that kind of tree. It was a tree.
We'll be doing our ritual early in the morning tomorrow. So, if this is the last time you hear from me, not to be pessimistic or nothing, but I hope you guys have a good one. Okay, this is working. Good. If you're listening to this, my name is Trevor.
I don't know if this was true, but I remember it being as big as this building. It was massive. We went in through like a knot in the tree, and there was this thing.
And I don't know what happened. The mission failed. I'm the only one left.
I don't think it was a person, but it talked. It had a home, a table. There was an awful smell, I remember.
I don't know what happened. We went into the bog, and there were these things that I had never seen before, and we fought through them, and they were guarding this big tree-looking thing. But this weren't no normal tree. It were huge, big around as any building you've ever seen.
There was bodies everywhere, but like they was taken apart.
Them kids, they ain't coming back, man. They ain't coming back. We saw some of the adults. Their innards was in one pile, their skins was in another, and I don't know what I was thinking. As soon as I saw that creature, I ran right at her. I had to stop her, and I don't know what happened next. Everything was just a blur. They were screaming and laughing, noises, just fucking noises.
And then there was this creature, this looked like a woman. She talked to me. In my head, she talked to me.
That's all I remember. I remember waking up. I got a hole in my chest, about as wide as my fist. I can feel something in me. It's like my blood ain't flowing. It hurts to breathe. I don't know how I made it out of there, but I'm the only one. I just heard this voice in my head. It was awful. It was like speaking inside of me. It was part my voice, part someone else's. I don't know what's going to happen to me. But this hole ain't closing. My blood ain't pumping.
And you see he kind of closes his eyes slightly. His breathing starts to quicken. I remember running at her. And that's it. Everything goes black.
Something's wrong. So, I figured I would record this and let you know that if you're listening to this, I'm dead. Something happened. I don't know what. I can't explain it. But if I was somewhere near this bog, you need to run and stay far away.
I hear things. I feel things. It's like every bad feeling I've ever had combined into one. And right as I feel like I'm gonna die, I wake up. I'm out of the tree. I'm the only one out.
If you can, there's a little town at the end of the Emperor named Beale, alright? You need to speak with a woman named Marta Popola. That's my mama, alright? Or Freya. If you can get to her, that's my wife, alright? If you can do that, I tell them. I need to tell them I love them. I'm sorry, honey. I tried my hardest to give Louise the life that I wanted to give her, the one that she deserved. I tried not to be like my daddy. I tried to be present in her life, and I just did the same goddamn thing. Know that I love you with all my heart. I love you, Mama. And I'm so sorry.
And I just and kind of gives a little tap, kind of feels the ichor smudged in between his fingers. That's it. That's all I know.
Well, I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't seen a condition like yours. Here's the thing. I don't have to give you a full examination to know. Your condition, living without a heart for years, presents a unique challenge. It's not just the organ anymore. Then he traces that cotton swab from the blackened edge of the skin to these necrotic spider veins that start to spread into like the body. It's the sepsis. That's what's killing you now. It's if you reversed whatever this was, if I could put a heart in you, whether natural, artificial, working with the other faculty, your body has adapted to survive in this current state. You've been coughing a lot, haven't you? And he observes the splotches of black that coat your lungs.
Yeah, I try and focus on my breathing sometimes. Meditate. It helps sometimes to block out the pain. But when I'm stressed, when I'm upset, sometimes I can't help it, and it'll just come out of me. I remember something.
Yeah.
When I was out, the voice came back to me. Her voice. Whatever it was. Taunting me. But praising me. It sounded like her voice, sounded like mine, sounded like my wife's, my mother's. 5 years. That's how long she gave me.
How many months has it been? 2, 3?
Well, when I first got it, I started counting down the days. You know, I wanted to make them count. I wanted to go home and spend time, and I couldn't do that to them. So I just started walking didn't matter where. And then when the months went by, years, I still kept track. Right about the time I got as far away from my hometown as I could, I kind of just gave up. I stopped keeping track. I figured, it's better I don't know when I'm gonna go, because I'm just gonna spend the rest of my life worrying. But now, having to focus on it, I guess, I got maybe 2 months, 2.5.
All right, I have... He composes himself for a moment. I have doctorly advice, and I have personal advice. Look, hope is important. And what you're living with, it suggests remarkable resilience. More than I've ever seen. You're special. And look, we can explore advanced experimental medical treatments. I can poke and prod, and maybe I'll find something. But personally, with a limited time and no certainty, you might be better off taking whatever time you have left and making it really special, making it really count. Look, this college is filled with professors from noble families, from low-born means. If there's any hope I can give besides my experimenting in the Citadel, deep down, coming from those minds, isn't just broom. There's artifacts of origins far beyond us as a people. I would go there. I would look there. And I will do everything I can to extend every day, and give you as much time.
So that's it. That's it, is it? Just a pat on the back. Sorry about your luck, champ. Come all this way. I'm hundreds of miles from home. I ain't seen my family in 5 years. I give up hope. I think, hey, maybe this is it. Maybe this will lead me to the light. I think maybe there's somebody out there looking out for me, throwing me a rope. And that's all you got. I'm sorry.
He goes to the table and pulls out a bottle and pours 2 glasses to the brim, and he takes down 3/4 of his in the first sip. But I am sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just trapped on an island. saturation's building up, right? Came early this year, so I can't even get out. This place is gonna be my fucking tomb. And that's all it is. I just gotta sit back, rest in a chair, put on some music, and go out like a fucking bitch. That's right. I'll head down the mines. I'll figure it out. Maybe some person a long time ago knew way more than you. Maybe he'll have some master stroke. Maybe then a 1 in a million shot. What a fucking joke, huh? It ain't even a joke. You ain't laughing. Sure as fuck ain't laughing. Backhands the glass off the table. Gets up.
Flies off, crashes against the wall. He doesn't wince.
Then.
Trevor, you should know before you go. It's just from what I can see, it's going to get worse. It's going to get painful. I don't want to turn you into an experiment, but I'm going to be here when, if you need me down the road.
Yeah. Oh. Ain't much of a road left. But, I'm sorry. He's gonna walk over to the glass. Just realizes he can't really do anything about it. Says, I gotta go. Maybe I gotta go. He just turns around. He starts walking out.
The doctor watches as the door closes. He takes one more sip from his glass and walks over to the candle, which is near its end anyway, in the corner of the room, and looks back at the quill and parchment on his desk that he had been scribbling notes and lectures into, quenches the flame with his fingers, and grabs his coat off the door, grabs the bottle, and also, moments later, steps out, heading a different direction. And Trevor, you're in the hall of the university.
He wants to scream. He just pulls the tank top back over his head, kind of winces as the cloth of his garment kind of brushes up against the uncovered wound. Kind of throws his coat back on, zips it up. He just kind of has his back to the door. He just kind of leans his back, slumps down to a seated position, and just immediately starts to just vigorously wipe the tears from his eyes His other hand is clenched so tightly that drops of dark red, viscous blood just starts to pool in the palm of his hand. Takes a deep breath. Tries to center his emotions. 2 months. It's not much, but it's something. It's gotta be something. He gets up. Just goes to the nearest common area. Goes to wash himself off. Get himself looking decent. Then he probably just walks to the main courtyard, wherever the campus might be, campus grounds. He just goes to the nearest landmark he can. And he's just gonna kind of sit there and wait. He doesn't know where class went to. He was in a hurry to get her to go. So he's just gonna sit there, ruminate for a bit until she finds him somehow. She's smart.
I think, Dr. Glass, it's a while that Trevor's gone, and the room has some snoring sounds coming from the other communal beds. It's not going to be a good night's sleep anyway.
I think she's sat there a bit longer than she's realized at first. She's been taking down notes of everything they've learned. She's had some other thoughts. And then she realizes how long it's been, and she's a bit concerned. And so she grabs the echo light just in case, and gets her cane and pokes her head out. And lifting the lamp like Diogenes, goes and looks for her honest man.
I'd say it wouldn't take long. You head out of the carriage house and to the courtyard, the common space in front of the university, and Trevor's a big guy. You can easily find him not far from the large center fountain in the middle.
Oh, hey. Sorry. I got lost. Happens.
Look, I caught up with you. You're making me young again.
Oh, we're good for each other. I guess. You got that room?
Yes, it's a room.
Been in worse. We got beds though, right?
Yes, there are beds. It will be fine.
Okay. Well, lead the way.
And she doesn't for a moment. She looks at him, a much softer look than previous. Says, "You don't have to tell me anything. I won't. I'm done interrogating for the day. But you should know that I care to know if you care to tell me anything."
I don't know what you're No, I needed, and he's racking his brain literally for any kind of excuse.
I think she just sits down next to him then and doesn't look at him, just takes in the night, says, well, thank you for being there for me today.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, I mean, you let me go, right? So it's like, I still like being with you. So,
Well, the feeling's mutual, Trevor, and thank you for trusting me with what you told me right when we arrived about not wanting to get arrested. It is the kind of thing that I'd like to hear you say a second time, just to be sure. I think you could understand that. You said that any prison sentence would be a death sentence. Do I remember that correctly?
there's a long silence. Pregnant pause. What am I hiding? Why am I hiding it, right? What, hold on to my pride? What pride do I got, right?
There's nothing wrong with pride. You should have pride in your reality, I think, as well.
I'm glad you're here. And it's not just a platitude. It ain't just an extension of affection. I think I need someone I can talk to who knows more of who I am. So, like, I don't like to put myself out there. I don't, if I can help it. I'm fine just taking orders, you know. But when I said that I weren't going to jail, that was like, that was true. I do mean that, but I don't think it matters. He kind of instinctively kind of like reaches to his chest and kind of gives an involuntary, not grunt, a yelp, like a kicked dog.
And she looks at him again.
I'm dying, Doctor.
I'm sorry.
When I heard you was going to Crow Perch, when I stayed longer than I should have, you know, you hired me for a few months and I stayed on. You know, it because I liked you, yeah. You was better than most other people I worked for, but that weren't the whole story. I was getting ready to leave, and then you prepared for a trip to Crow Perch. You was talking about void. You was talking about consonants. And I saw a light, you know? So, I got 2.5 months. That's what the best surgeon told me. I'm gonna die here, Doc.
Well, if Esper's to be believed, you'll outlive me by 2 months and 30 days. I'm sorry. I shouldn't joke. I hope I'm joking.
No, it's all right.
I admire your resourcefulness. You found a way to get to a place no one can get to and be examined by one of the best, most niche doctors in the land. The first moment you arrived. You're very clever, Trevor.
You don't have to say that.
Oh yes, you know how I love to flatter people insincerely. But I don't mean to make light. I don't know what's going on with you. I have no reason to contradict Dr. Stewart, I assume. Gave you this prognosis?
Yeah, he told me the best thing I can do is get comfortable.
But you saw with me, with your own eyes, what Hypatia did. This is a time of marvels. We're in a place where the unheard of happens. I told you everything's drawn me here, and I don't know what to do about it. And perhaps you've been drawn here as well. I don't mean to give false hope. I am terrible at giving false hope. But I don't know. We should keep our eyes open.
As the doctor speaks, Trevor, he starts breathing steadily again. He is going to kind of wipe himself off for the second time. He goes, and with a much clearer head, he says, I got 2.5 months. I know I ain't working for you, and I know that even if I was, it wouldn't matter, right? It's not like I'm gonna do anything with the money.
Wait, are you not working for me? I thought I unfired you. Are you quitting?
Well,
who's going to open doors for me? I have my cane in one hand and my bag in the other.
I'm saying, Doctor, that I'm staying with you.
Oh, good.
You got something to do. You got your aunt here. You got your work. You got things. It ain't much for me. But I'll take what I can get. As long as I can walk, and talk, and fight, that's what I'm going to do. So
when you mention her aunt, she looks straight up at the sky and blinks and gathers herself. She says, "Thank you, Trevor. I know you think I was hard on Nylus earlier, and you're right. I didn't do a good job of explaining myself, but
Doc, you don't have to. You really don't.
To you, I should. Just it took a lot of betrayals by good, intelligent men before I figured out whom I trust. And it's people who have had their worldviews tested. I see that in you.
I know it don't seem much, but I do a lot of thinking sometimes. Just about how people carry themselves. And I make a little jab at you saying, you should be friendlier more often or not, but I understand what it's like to be in a place that has a vested interest in not being friendly to you. And so, you gotta harden up. You gotta push back. So, I know what that's like.
And I hardened up later in life than I should have. I was a bit like Nylus for longer than I'd care to admit, and people I was supposed to protect suffered as a result. Because I trusted the system, I trusted that the rules would do what they said.
So, whether or not I'm fired, whether or not I'm seeing my next paycheck, we're in this together. Because ain't no one knows what we've been through but us. And we can't push that away no more.
Let's find a drink so I can drink to that.
Yeah. I think I need that too.
As you stand from this seating place by the fountain, you walk by the Gothic architecture, the towering spires, the soft golden glow of the street lamps, and find your way back to the common space in the carriage house, where we will take this opportunity to exercise our 45-minute break.
Okay.
That's all, folks.
Fuck.
Let me
Amazing.
let me grab. Oh no.
That was incredible.
Yes.
I didn't know I was gonna come here to cry before we passed 10 fucking episodes.
Man, when that doctor said sorry, like the face on Shane, like I could see him like building up rage.
Yeah. It's, it like I said, they say time heals wounds, but time just
Numbs him.
goes forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The wound's not treated. All it takes is a little scratch.
It was devastating. And it put into such nice context why, when Dr. Glass bonked him with her cane, hurt him so much.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh my god, that was
Using a break.
All right.
All right, seal 45
All right.
after the hour.
Yep.
45 minutes.
We're gonna do 4:45
See you then.
Eastern.
4:45.
45
Okay.
Eastern. All
That's
right.
fine.
See you all soon.
45 after the hour. Yes.
Dr. Glass and Trevor, your carriage has arrived as you pull up to a large, opulent mansion with music coming from the inside, crowds gathered outside who are clearly taking a break, smoking, drinking, and chatting. And recently, too, have arrived Nylus von Stonen, Esperanca Boyra, as well as Valadin, who get out of the carriage right in front of yours. As the group gathers, you're almost figuratively assaulted by a dwarvish man who steps up holding a camera. Darlings, please gather up. Let's get a photo.
What?
We're gonna get a picture taken.
Aren't those just for criminals?
Nylus tries to ignore the man as if he hasn't heard him and continues walking into a different direction, almost purposefully.
No, dear, they're also for celebrities and high society. And Dr. Glass prepares to oblige.
Whoever's obliging and whoever isn't doesn't really quite matter, because before you know it, there is a crash of a light bulb that shatters as the bright flash indicates a successful picture taken. And
They're gonna get Esper's full crazy face.
Trevor's eyes are shut.
you bet I'm commissioning that.
I have two questions. One for me, one for Dr. Glass.
Yes.
First, vibe-wise, is this a champagne and flutes party or a champagne and coupes party?
Oh, absolutely flutes.
Okay, good, because I have both right here. It's IPA, but and for Dr. Glass has not asked, but she is eyeing Esper because she is wondering if this is what she was wearing in Esper's dream. So I suppose that's an insight check unless Esper tells her. But is Esper reacting to what Dr. Glass,
Yes.
how Dr. Glass looks?
Is this dress familiar?
I would say, Esper, this is, everybody's wearing what you had dreamed about.
So that, yeah. I mean, I already described the panic on Esper's face, but it's valid. It's valid.
I'm not sure there's
probably-
a need for an insight check. It's Esper here.
Yeah, I think Dr. Glass knowing about Esper the way that she does, and considering their conversation the previous morning, she knows something.
You know, I'm almost prone to wonder why I came to this party tonight. If I survived this, I might actually write that book I'm pretending to write, because I'm starting to think there's some sort of innate pull towards death that we have in our unvoiced mind. It's worth thinking about.
Sure, running towards death. But let's try to remember survival today. We can't let you go anywhere alone, especially not with that man.
I'm sure we'll be all within our sight distance. Trevor, Nylus.
Could I have a quick word of saying? I'm sorry, so terribly sorry to trouble the mood, although I'm sure I could perfectly, with the proper words, explain my situation, but upon entrance at that picture here, I'm not, how can I say this gently, I'm not exactly sure that my church would see me at a situation like this, see it as a graceful way of me performing my task on this island. And I'm frankly quite scared it would get into their
I mean,
heads.
ain't your god all seeing?
Well, yes, my God, of course.
Drink of IPA from his flute.
You can see that you have Nylus on the spot. Your words are correct, and he doesn't have a clever word back. You can see that he's almost persevering already.
I'm sorry, not.
Just from that.
And I think Dr. Glass clocks that multiple people were uncomfortable with the photo. And she says, I'm sorry, everyone. I was encouraged to see that photos were being taken. So I thought a record of us being here meant it would be harder to dispose of us. But perhaps that was a bit naive on my part.
You know, I understand. It's just I'm frightful. That would not be the first proof I want to send out of my actions on this island.
If it helps, I don't think you'll be the only member of the clergy here at this party.
Nihilus, I think if you're here and what I dreamt about is true, I mean, is the clergy gonna look down on you being here, possibly trying to save a room full of people?
Of course not. It's just that...
Then don't worry about it so much.
You're right. I'm probably just worrying too much. And he takes a step back from the conversation, kind of with an unsettling face, as he not twitches, but has a resting face. Very, very much in mind and thinking of perhaps a plan or something else, or just thinking.
There's a lot of shuffling in and out of the door to the building, and you see as room is being made in the crowd of people, as a carriage with jet black embellishments and expensive golden features pulls up, and you can see that it's as if the party is stopping just for a moment to see this guest arrive. Steps out of the carriage Lord Felix Royce.
Right.
The photographers swarm.
Dr. Glass just reaches for Trevor and squeezes his arm.
I know, I see him too. We just gotta get through the night, right? So let's just do our best to do that. Keep our eye on him. Like they said, you're not going anywhere without...
What is your exact history with this man, Dr. Glass?
And she looks to Valadin and says, my exact history? Well, we were friends in a secret society full of people attuned to or aware of mysterious powers, many of them psychic. And then he betrayed the society and, killed my mentor and several of the members, and I foolishly confronted him, and he crippled and nearly killed me. And I devoted myself to chasing him down, and here we are.
Huh. What do you think his current goal is?
Killing a lot of people.
Truly.
And power, unfathomable power. His mind is monstrous and far greater than my own.
Greed is a tempting sin, but outright murder?
Esper's in the background giving a tug on Nylus' sleeve, and she starts to, kind of whisper, murmur, speak to him. She's like, well, in my dream, you did murder half the room.
We'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Is that Dr. Glass I see?
Felix.
He wades through crowds.
Esper melts in behind one of the taller people.
Felix, you look wonderful. Come here. Mwah. Mwah.
As do you. Hey, I think we got off on the wrong foot. I was on this island for a bit and realized that it's just such a big place. And I think it might be rare that we even bump into one another outside of social gatherings. So I thought maybe we just let water flow under the bridge and let go of past hurts. Maybe even keep in touch.
That's
What do you
so
think?
lovely to hear you say, Felix, especially when I've been such an oaf. It's so good to talk once again to my old friend.
I thought you'd be here tonight. So I brought somebody special.
Oh, I can't wait to meet them. I hope you don't mind. I just sort of had a feeling that you were expecting me.
Well, and he gives you a pat on the shoulder. Catch me inside. I'll be giving a speech later. And don't worry, you know them very well. And he gives a wink as he turns and walks away.
It's Sam. It's going to be, the chairman, the man in the chair who we found in the bed.
No. I don't know him very well.
I think he's just trying to get under your skin, right?
I think he is trying to get
put you off guard on the back foot.
He knows he already has me on the back foot. He's...
Have you met him before, Trevor?
Have I met
Or seen him?
before? I doubt it.
Mm.
I'm asking more Styria, because
I mean, not through...
I
Not
don't
that Dr.
think
Glass
you would have met him.
No, I mean, she had not seen him... Until we were on the boat, she had not seen him in Sovereign Sea Gate. Like, she had been searching in vain.
Mhm.
So certainly he would never...
Right.
You would not have met him in her presence. It would be huge news to her if you had ever met him.
I just found it peculiar. Here she has a knight, a full suit of armor, and a large orc, and I imagine that you're no slouch in battle. But he had no eyes for us, focused only on Dr. Glass.
Oh, yes.
This seems like a much bigger problem than I assumed.
He's very creepy.
And you're very astute.
There's always something that stuck out to me. I listen sometimes when doctors, when they're like talking their smart stuff. One thing really stuck out to me. Predators, how you know them, it's the eyes. Always facing forward. It's the prey that got the eyes on the sides. So, what I'm thinking is, he has no need to look around, because he already knows who his prey is.
And he fears no other predator in the way.
Yeah.
Well, tonight could be an opportune moment for all of us here, especially with all of these people. There's information to be gathered, people to be talked with.
Hey, listen, Doc, I ain't never been to none of these fancy functions except for the one I had in my head, the one where back at the hotel.
With the monster and the murder mystery.
What do you do here? Like, what the hell do you do at this? Do you just stand and drink?
Yes.
There might be dancing, I'm not sure. But mostly you stand and drink, yes. And there will probably be past little foods that will have little bits left over that you can't eat and you won't know what to do with. Because there won't be any obvious trash cans. And you'll stand around looking for someone to talk to so that you're not just standing around, but we have each other. And then there will be speeches. And you'll be grateful for the speeches because then you'll know what's expected of you. But then the speeches will make you want to die.
Oh.
But in this case, they might kill us.
Huh.
They might kill us. This will probably die during the speeches.
No, I got it. I got that.
All right, then. I didn't have the part of speech quite right. You know, I like to be precise. Anyway.
Nylus has a good look around the room as soon as the conversation is on. So sorry for intervening.
As you make your way into the the party, a lot of the outside mingling has settled down, and you see a small band in the corner. Very sophisticated, it all looks. And you see Lord Felix Royce standing at the podium at the front of the room. And Esper, you notice the couches in the corner that you remember having sat at during your dream.
How
You see...
how close are they relative to that podium?
Lord Felix Royce is standing behind it as if he's getting ready to make a speech.
Yeah, how close are the tables that I remember that we had been sitting at to it?
It's on the other end of the room. I would say about
Okay.
40 feet.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
As you step inside, you see a speech is about to be made. And Lord Felix Royce, looking across the room for a second up from a piece of paper, looks towards Dr. Glass and gives a little wave, like a, hey, for a moment, would you come here kind of motion.
How many feet away would you say he is from Dr. Glass?
About 40 feet. You're separated by, say, 10, 15 people that are kind of in the route.
She steps about 10 feet closer and speaks into his mind.
Is there a fireplace near that?
There is, on the side of the room, right when you enter the door, there is a large grand fireplace bisecting the room.
As Dr. Glass moves towards Felix Royce, Valadin would move towards the fireplace, as they would be keeping an eye out. Does he see anybody with concealed weapons in the crowd? And if so, how many?
Please roll investigation.
She steps about 10 feet closer and speaks into his mind. Hello to you too, Felix.
That was a 13.
Looking around the room, you see some people come dressed differently from others. It's hard to tell if there are concealed weapons. They're concealed. With a 13, you can't get a good read of a busy party, but what you do notice is among the tuxedos and suits and fancy attire, there are some who seem to have awkward creases and bumps in their suits. It leads you to believe that something is underneath, but it's hard to tell if it's a weapon.
Valadin would keep this information as they keep an eye on Dr. Glass and Roy Felix.
Pleasure as always, Dr. Glass. A quick word before I give a speech. I think it's something you'll want to hear, and I'd like to do it civilized. Not like this. You hear in your head.
Anything for you, Felix. Just, And she's not ready to die just yet, and she turns as though someone has called to her, and says, just a moment, dear, and drifts towards the nearest person she sees whom she knows, so she can pretend to talk to them and ritually cast Detect Magic. Taking out her pocket watch.
Trevor's shadowing Doctor, yeah.
You're saying ritually cast. That's a 10-minute casting time, and I don't think you have subtle spells, so it will be known and visible that you're casting it. Okay. There are some rooms to the
Or you
sides.
can take the air.
A small smoking room where you see some people are smoking as they pass it. Others pass in and out. Outside.
She could use a smoke.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and roll, I'm going to say, stealth.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go talk to Nylus. I think she's speaking in tongues.
Here comes my +0 stealth roll. That is a natural 4 for a total of 4.
You take out the pocket watch and you walk as you perform the same action you performed not too long ago on her Royal Rose, casting ritually Detect Magic. And especially with a 4, you can tell that though not everybody, there are some at this party who glance at you as you walk by. At first it's a, was that person looking at me? And later you can tell that there is some active watchers as you cast this spell. Once it finishes, you have a clear view of everything magical around you. That ticking reverberates through the walls and into the distance and gives you some insight that others might not have.
I mean, he was gonna stab me anyway, so...
You notice something. You notice 3 of the patrons have knives, magical ones. You notice there is another room behind the podium, and somewhere behind that wall, there is a person tied to a chair. And how can you know? Because there is a rope-like silhouette that illuminates itself to you, that wriggles. And you notice Lord Felix Royce, who, for some reason, you're not getting a ping on an object, but throughout all of this analysis of magical items and magic sources in the area, he dimly radiates an eminence of magic.
Can I tell, like, the basic shape of the bound person?
It's hard to tell. You know, that rope, it clearly ties maybe some arms and a chest to a chair. That is probably the best you can get, but it's just the rope that reveals itself. So there's no anatomy that you can tell.
Maybe let's try and keep a low profile here. Just... People see you casting stuff out in the open. They're gonna start thinking stuff.
Nylus would have liked to take that opportune moment to take a look around the room as well, more clear, to see if he can see specific insignias of the other houses, the Vanthorns, the Scalders, the Meridials, Gaspards.
You know something about this party, when you look around the room, you notice a clear lack of a clear lack of insignias. As you look around, it's clear that the allegiances, noble or not, are intentionally absent from this party. For what reason, you might not know.
Trevor, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not even quite sure who's all attending this party and what eyes might be upon us.
You know, if what they're saying is true, and the dream is true, some shit's about to go down, right?
Like, Dr. Glass sits down in an armchair, defeated. I'm
just saying, like, if someone starts investigating, who are they gonna investigate, right? The one just doing magic.
Are there strangers in the room with us, Wes?
This room to the side has another fireplace that's glowing, and you see 2 strangers in the corner just kind of mingling with their champagne flutes. But it's much more vacant than the main room. And by the way, at this moment, in the main room, you begin to hear the clink of a glass, maybe like a fork hitting a glass, as if an announcement's about to begin.
She stands up and drains her glass and says, "Gentlemen, it was nice knowing you both." And strides outwards.
Esper, in the time that Dr. Glass was taking Trevor to the side to cast Detect Magic, will have made themselves inch closer. They want to close some of the gap of that 40 feet between where they were and the podium.
You can do so, and, you can make as much distance as you like.
Going to get quite close. Not...
You get close to the podium, you actually see as Lord Felix Royce picks up his champagne flute and taps it with a fork to get everybody's attention.
All right. Won't be exactly front row because they don't want to quite easily be seen yet. But they're very close.
And Dr. Glass is walking directly towards him.
Dr. Glass, as you're walking, he seems to stop for a moment. Oh, never mind. Just 1 minute. And he observes you approach.
And
Dr. Glass.
When she's close enough, she says into his mind, I'm ready if you are. If this is really what you want.
Ready? Sure. I was going to give an announcement, but what I wanted to talk to you about was something special.
I know.
You do? Well, indulge me, Dr. Glass. What is it that you know?
You've spared my life all these times because you have some reason to take it now. And you have someone, one of two people, I can guess, to trade, or to pretend to trade, because you know I'm not going to let you kill them.
Uh-huh.
Because whatever Abelard told you about me, you're ready to cash that in, I suppose?
You give a very compelling story, Dr. Glass. And how did you come up with this?
Isn't that what you were trying to tell me? On the boat? Isn't that why you left me alive and left me with the knife? Is it my aunt back there, or is it Emil?
Oh, Dr. Glass. You know so much, yet so little.
I know. I came here like a good little lamb. It's what I deserve after believing that you were my friend. Why did I believe that, Felix? Why did I need to believe that? Someone should do a case study, don't you think?
I was your friend.
And anyone who's watching just sees the two of them staring at each other from 30 feet apart. And a tear runs down the side of her face.
Nylus steps closer to her.
I suppose we were always unlikely friends.
Yeah. I think that might be true. I never thought you would agree with me, which is why I didn't keep in touch after Abelard.
Why did you have to? Abelard was the only... You're one of us, aren't you, Felix?
I don't think I know who us is anymore. Abelard was crippling
He saved
our
me.
potential.
I was crippling my own potential.
And I tried to warn everybody.
You know I spent my whole life...
Tell you what,
Abelard, you were the first people I was my true self with since my aunt was taken away.
look,
And I suppose myself is just an old fool. So do what you're going to do, Felix, before I hurt other people with my foolishness. And she walks towards where he gestured.
I have an announcement to make, and he
Don't do it, Felix.
watches as you walk.
If you were
back.
my friend, just don't. Just be the young man who was my friend, and don't do it. Whatever you're planning.
He goes to put his glass on the podium and slips and accidentally drops it as it shatters to the ground. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody get that,
And
please.
she says out loud, "Let me help." And she climbs up on.
No, it's fine. We have to talk. And he walks past you to the door that leads to the back room.
And is Trevor within 30 feet?
Trevor hasn't left
Nylus definitely
your
is.
shadow.
Esper is.
She turns to Trevor, and into Trevor's mind, she says, I'm sorry to speak to you this way, but I can't go without saying goodbye. Thank you for everything, Trevor. And then she follows Felix.
Instinctively, Trevor's hand juts out and grabs her by the arm. Doctor,
Out loud, just,
I told you what I've got to lose. What we've got to lose.
I wish I had time to explain, Trevor. Just, whoever's back there, promise me you'll get them out.
I understand that.
And she shakes him off as best she can. This is what I came here to do.
Let's go.
A beat after Dr. Glass goes and begins to follow, if she does follow Felix, a beat later, Esper is going to follow as well, and she will try to be sneaky.
Okay.
How much attention from the room was set on Felix dropping the glass?
30%.
Valadin, before following after Trevor, would leave a bottle of oil right near the fireplace, stealthily so, leaving it near enough that over time it might heat up and cause a distraction as he leaves to follow the others.
Roll sleight of hand, please.
11.
Noted. You head back, and the first person to enter the room is Dr. Glass. Lord Felix Royce is standing at yet another fireplace. It's as if this house has one in every room, holding another champagne flute, bottle on the mantle, and back turned towards Dr. Glass, he exclaims, I knew you wouldn't approve of my plan, Doctor. And we're connected, right? It's what Abelard started with. That's how we met.
Yes.
He said we're connected, all of
Yes.
us. What are we connected to? Why don't you enlighten the class as everybody else starts to walk in, and apparently the friends of yours
No.
that have
I
come
told them
to
that-
join our conversation.
He called it the Nexus. He called us Nexus Bound. My aunt called us Night Jars.
It almost breaks the tension for a moment as he puts a small grin. He's heard that before, like a smile, gentle. For the first time, you've seen this old style of expression that hasn't been seen on his face since years ago. And he looks back up. Yes. And what's in the Nexus?
It's us. It's...
I don't mind taking this part.
No, I've got my notes. I mean, he had his... Abelard had his theories that there's an entity in the void, but the Nexus is us. It's our connection. That we're sort of a... I never liked the term hive mind. Is that the part that you mean?
There is something in that vile darkness that connects us all. And I mean to understand it. Because where Abelard refused to go, I will instead.
That's why I liked Night Jars better. My aunt said that was the bird that carried people's souls to the afterlife when we died. And that some people just have an extra soul to carry around with no place to go. That she and I were like those birds. She didn't know what kind of soul it was. She didn't think it was vile, even though it was driving her slowly mad. Or less slowly, I don't know. They said she was mad. Is that what's happened to you, Felix?
There's some...
Is the barrier breaking down?
Maybe.
Like it was for Emile? Like it did for my aunt?
But maybe that's what's supposed to happen. I don't believe that we exist to break. Why would we exist if not to reach our full potential? If everybody who delves deeper eventually collapses, maybe the collapse is what we should be searching for.
You and Abelard had so much in common. He was so frustrated sometimes that I wouldn't embrace more, that I was so afraid. Maybe he saw you.
And you and Abelard have
Yes.
more in common than you
Had.
think.
Or is that what we have in common? You're about to kill me like you killed him.
To do what I'm going to do, I don't need you. I have Amalia.
No, Felix. No. No. Kill me instead, please. You can't. Let me see her. Is she here? I haven't seen her since. Felix, no, you're not going to.
There is something there in the darkness. Something that ties us all together. A second soul. I think it's something far greater than all of us. And I mean to unlock it. Now,
and she puts down
I have an
Abelard's
announcement
cane.
to make.
She throws down Abelard's cane to show she won't use it. And she gets down on her knees and she says, I thought she was dead. And I killed part of myself with her. You know that? Please, Felix. You can't. You can't.
He walks past you
No.
and towards the door
No.
as it swings open, and he walks back into the main room.
I want to make an attack as he does.
So he will see you. And before you make that attack, I'll say you know that he sees you. It's quite obvious that you weren't able to successfully hide. As you entered the room and moved behind Valadin, the door kind of slammed behind you, casting attention just for a moment your way before he turned back to Dr. Glass in the conversation. He walks by and he will see you. So if you make an attack, it will not be a surprise, and he might react.
I think the impulse hit Esper, and it is going to happen no matter what. There is that split-second moment where Esper knows that she's seen, and knows that it's likely that Felix is going to recognize her. That it doesn't matter because the dagger, the good doctor, is leaving her hand and being thrown
Okay.
at him.
Roll to hit. No advantage.
That is a soft 20.
Roll damage.
7 piercing damage.
The dagger flies through the air, scraping the side of his chest around his ribcage and cutting a gash into his suit and causing damage. You see bleeding from his side. And he looks up at you, and his eyes flash black for a second. And you hear in your head, if you want to live, you will let me pass.
You won't hurt her. he hears immediately back.
Can I use Mage Hand to pull the dagger out of him and give it back to Esper?
You can, but if anybody else basically takes a hostile action, it will be an initiative roll from everybody.
Whether or not Trevor actually has his... he gave...
Esper has
the short
that sword,
so
yeah.
he doesn't have any weapon. Yes. So, he is purely not in offensive mode. He is just making sure that nothing happens to the doctor. So he is, at this point, standing between the two, just anticipating hostility, and if it pops off, he's going to jump in. But right now, he is not acting hostile.
Out loud, but in a more quiet kind of voice, Esper's going to continue to speak a bit. I won't do anything else. You promise me you won't hurt her. You're not going to hurt anybody else here today.
You're not my enemy yet, girl. Don't make yourself one. As he will attempt to walk by, not acknowledging who he's going to hurt.
I think there's a moment where Esper's eyes flick over to Dr. Glasses.
Do I have a sense of where that other room is? The room with the bound person? Presumably Amalia?
You saw it definitively past the podium behind the wall. There's several doors where it might be. Would have been hard to tell, but you can certainly check them. And if uncontested, he steps through the door back into the main room.
As soon as the door closes, Valadin will turn to the rest. I left a little surprised by the chimney place. If we're going to do something, we have 1 or 2 minutes before his announcement is interrupted.
He wouldn't promise me that he wasn't going to hurt anybody.
And I gesture at the other doors. I gesture at the other doors as I reach for my cane. Go, my aunt's... She's back there somewhere. She's tied up. We have to... It's going to kill her.
Where's Nylus?
She's trying to get up and get her cane.
Trevor doesn't wait for an answer. Trevor's going to go pick up Doctor's cane, give it to her, and in one fluid movement turns and runs towards where the doctor had indicated.
And with Mage Hand, she's already opening one of the other doors.
You go to the first door, Trevor, and Dr. Glass, you use Mage Hand on the second door. And both of them, in fact, if you check the third as well, the third will also be locked. Not for public use in this party. How would you be avoiding that? And before you answer, you begin to hear the champagne flute ding with a fork again, calling for an announcement.
I don't think we know enough about the specifics of the dream that we know this is exact. We don't know exactly how everyone dies in Esper's dream, right? Only Esper knows that.
Esper did not communicate exactly yet.
And Dr. Glass is focused on this other thing, so I don't think she's thinking about that.
No.
She also, as previously discussed, has no way of opening a locked door. I'm looking at my inventory. So you can try to smash it open with her cane.
Valadin would stop
Esper-
your cane mid-flight as they will pull out a assortment of strange looking keys with odd and uneven teeth as he will lockpick the door.
Yeah!
That beats Esper's idea.
Valadin, please roll sleight of hand for
And
lockpicking.
I'm gonna give you Bardic.
21. Almost casually, he sticks this strange key, and based on the sound, he moves it with experience as the door opens without a single issue.
As this happens, from the other room, you begin to hear, "There are people here from all walks of life. We have old colleagues and new ones." As the door opens and you look inside, you see you have a storage room, but not just any storage room. You see metal-bound chests and coffers, heavy, carrying a bound person.
Doctor, Nylus is still out there.
She's working with the second door. Get him, don't. I don't.
Trevor looks into the room and is just like scanning. Doc, I don't see her.
Do any of the chests look like they could hold a person inside?
She's tied to a chair. She's not in a. I saw her.
Yeah, none of them would be big enough.
She's already gesturing you towards the next door.
Following through?
Just start sprinting.
Valadin, please roll sleight of hand.
And just as mechanically as before, he opens the door without an issue.
You hear notable families, most notably representatives from the Van Thorns. That's no coincidence, for my announcement today is for them. As you look into the room, you see there is a chair, and sitting in it, you see a man in a three-piece suit, ornately dressed. You see another who also looks familiar. Both you met on her royal rose. One being Sam Thompson, and the other being Todd Gray. Sam Thompson being the man you met below deck, who was strung out, who you later met in the room, who chose to stay with Lord Felix Royce overrunning with Dr. Glass, and Todd Gray, the man who assaulted Trevor.
And she immediately just sticks her cane at Todd Gray's throat, says, "Where's my aunt? Where is he keeping Amalia?
Aunt,
Look how many of us there are
I don't know
against
what you're
you,
talking
and
about.
Trevor knocked you on your ass the first time just by himself."
Well, I'm not looking for anything serious here, ma'am.
Oh, please,
I'm
you
just
wish.
here to let this man go when the time...
As they are having this little conversation, Esper is running to the first door that got us into the original room, creaking it open and making a wild look for Nylus, trying to find him.
Nylus would be in the middle of the room, making conversation with people, having a champagne, and carefully listening to the announcement.
Esper will jump up and down if she has to try and get his attention.
He's quite a perceptive person. There wouldn't be no reason to not get his attention. There would be a bit of a confused look on his face as he brings up an eyebrow and he kind of mouths over from, "What's taking so
During
long?"
the jumping, Esper's like making the come here motion with her arms.
He points towards the speech.
She does not seem to care. That is only making her more frantic.
You hear him say, "Sam, would you please make your way out for me?" As Todd kind of looks towards Dr. Glass as he reaches down to untie the man in the chair.
Last chance. Mr. Gray.
Let me ask, are you trying to intimidate him?
Yeah, I am. And I'm hoping maybe I get help from my robot friend and my half-orc friend and the situation at
More
hand.
intimidation.
And
I'm glad you hope for
the
that.
argument that I just made. But yes. All right. I'll give you just another second to think about.
The DM hostage.
Yeah, in case you think she should maybe do better than an 8 total. Because I got a 4 on the die.
Look, I have one job here tonight, and that is, and as he lets go of the rope, it falls to the ground, to let Sam here walk into the room. So, if you're going to stand between him, that's not my problem. In fact, it's really up to,
Valadin, can you lock them in if I come back out?
Yes.
All right. Good night, gentlemen. And she comes back out and has Valadin lock them in.
You do so. Valadin, I presume you lock the door immediately and frantically. You lock it, preventing them from
Valadin rips out
leaving.
the doorknob.
Just out of spite.
You hear... Okay. You hear from the other room. Excuse me. I said, Sam, would you please make your way out for me?
This whole time, Trevor, who's been, saw the door close, lock, doorknob torn off, is completely frozen in place. Like he was moving, opening it up, seeing both Todd and Sam tied in the room there. It's too much for his mind right now, and he is in full on like, okay, I'm gonna mess something up if I start taking matters into my own hands, and is basically waiting outside the room, and is going to his default, which is awaiting orders, and is just sitting there. Any attempts to talk come out in stammering nonsense.
And Dr. Glass is knocking on the third door, going, Amalia, are you in there? It's Izzy.
Esper gave up on Nylus.
Amalia, are you in there? Valadin,
Valadin,
have to
well,
look.
Is it locked?
My plan here was not good, but
Please roll sleight of hand for a lockpick.
you still have Bardic.
It's a nat 1, though. So I think Quista's automatic fails, as I imagine through overusing it was the great strength that he has as a machine. His lockpick breaks in half.
I'm sorry. It seems there might be some delay for this announcement. I'm going to bring some friends of mine to check it out. You can hear an agitation in his voice as there's some footsteps coming from the main room back
Someone
here.
break this door down
Hold on, I got it.
before I do something stupider yet.
Try and
Esper's gonna try and barricade the door that Felix is about to try and come through.
Esper, please roll athletics. And who's breaking the door down? Please roll athletics.
he's gonna try and boot it down. Yeah,
21 on Esper's athletics.
Very good.
23 on Trevor's athletics.
Esper, you feel as somebody grabs the doorknob and tries to open it. As you're barricading it closed, you feel a little bit of shaking as if, why is this door not opening? And finally it becomes a pushing against you, but you're able to hold it quite strongly. And Trevor, you slam the door, breaking it off the hinges, and stumbling into the room, where you find a hatch in the ground. It doesn't look locked. There's a little metal ring on it that might let it be pulled open.
Okay, we ain't got time.
Mage hand immediately.
She's casting, I'm running and using my hand.
I'm not sure how long I can hold.
As you descend the ladder down into this hatch, it doesn't look like a cellar or anything constructed. It looks like a hole that was dug into the ground. It goes deeper and deeper, and finally you find your way to the bottom, where it's so deep, without light, it's almost hard to see. How do you illuminate it?
I don't. Let me see. I mean, I don't think I have a torch, because I'm just wearing my fucking Sunday best here.
If I see how dark it is, I can use Mage Hand to lower down my echo light.
Certainly. You could do that.
They're very fashionable. They go with
Trevor
evening
is
wear.
going to call down, and just say, like, anyone down there?
Silence. When you get to the bottom, you find, well, first, Esper. The door is now being banged at. You hear, open this door. And roll a second athletics check, please, as now somebody is trying to push it open
That is a
forcefully.
16.
They slam it once, and it doesn't open. There's a stumble. You hear, "Damn it. Make some room." And you hear somebody taking some steps backward to do a running start this time. Trevor,
Valadin runs towards the door, pulling out a bottle of oil, and he lets it puddle through the other side of the door near the bottom, making it slippery where it is.
okay, I will make sure that they are rolling with disadvantage as the oil starts to drip out. What is this? Trevor, at the bottom, you find a pillow, matted and stained deep, deep yellow from sweat and clear lack of being washed. You find plates, discarded, some broken. You see forks and spoons that have been tossed down in the past. You can see that this place was used to hold somebody. It has probably been like that for a long time, judging by the condition of this pit.
It just looks up. Anything just starts to back up and call back up through the hole. There's no one down here.
Oh, no. How do I find her? How do I find her?
You notice with your passive perception, they're using one of the old discarded utensils, which you can glance at and see it's kind of worn down on one edge. You see words carved in to the walls of the pit. It's over and over and over again. And repeated, you see, "Our minds cannot fathom the void."
Doctor, please get Trevor.
Okay. He tries his best to keep it in his mind. Holding up the light to the wall to read it perfectly.
What?
He's just going to pocket it, or at least hang it on a belt loop or something so that it's still illuminating the space around him. And is just going to back up and start to make his way back up the ladder.
Esper, roll athletics again, please, as they will roll with disadvantage.
That is another 16.
There's a running start this time, and you can hear a slip along the slick oil as they slide across and slam the door, not with the force of somebody who has hit it to be opened, but with somebody who has tripped, fallen, and slammed into it.
Forget it. I'm burning it down.
We've gotta hurry.
Trevor, what's going on? And then she just, like, distracted, comes to the door and casts second level sleep through the door. It does not require being able to see the creatures. Amalia, be with me. So 22 plus 6, 28.
Nylus, you see as this happens. You see Lord Felix Royce standing like a foreman behind almost like his subordinates who are trying to get through this door, tripping over themselves, sliding around on this oil. You see as Lord Felix Royce turns to the rest of the room and yells out, "Enough of this! Barricade the doors!" And as several of his cronies around him fall to the ground asleep. "I'm doing this myself." And you see as those who know him, those who work for him, as he says that, start to step away. You notice a visible fear on their face as he picks up his hand and points it towards the door. And at this moment, you start feeling almost like that feeling when you have a subwoofer that's very loud and it vibrates everything, even your bones, your hands, your body. You feel the whole building start to, I want to say vibrate, but that's not quite it. It's not like an earthquake. It's like a hum. Such a quick vibration that it reminds you of something psychological. And it's as if he's charging something up.
If she was down there, she ain't down there no more.
Yeah, knowing Amalia's not down there and knowing that Felix is winding up, Dr. Glass gestures Esper out of the way and opens the door and goes out to face Felix.
Interesting. Okay. I wasn't expecting it. I like it. You... Oh, one moment.
Loading.
I am punching way above my weight class. My best chance is to stall you and fuck up your plans, Wes.
You throw the door open as Esper gets out of the way. The oil slick in front of you. There is a unsettling silence among the crowd, which some look concerned, looking around as to why there are now men barricading every one of the doors. The room has somewhat grown farther from Lord Felix Royce, who now stands largely separated from everybody else. Nylus, you're in that room. I assume that you are sticking into the kind of center of the crowd as people are herded.
Yes, exactly.
The door is thrown open, and whatever he's charging, he's now holding on to. It's magic that you recognize to be very similar to the magic that was of study, but largely more powerful. And he looks at you, hand outstretched. Doctor?
And
what are you doing?
And she's going to walk up on stage like it's her cue and approach the lectern and give Felix a kiss on the cheek and address the crowd. Say, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Isidore Glass. I am an old acquaintance of Felix's here, and young Samuel is currently in my care. I regret to inform you all that he's tied up at the moment and can't join you, but he is alive and well, and is so happy to return to the fold, and so grateful to Felix here. He does have a medical condition that is being medicated, but is a charming, dapper fellow who is just going to be very sorry that he missed his big moment. And it seems that it was quite a moment. And she just kind of looks at the mess outside the door. Felix, you do know how to throw a party, don't you? Then she kind of laughs to the crowd.
You see the expression on his face is that of strong distaste. He almost looks disgusted, not at you, but there's something about the situation. And he...
Oh, it's disgusting what she's doing.
He goes, ha ha ha, Dr. Glass, thank you for checking on Sam. Why don't you go bring him out anyway? Because honestly, I have an announcement to make, and if he's not feeling well, we can always send him to bed afterward. And you hear in your head, and you're about to be the one who's sorry, Dr. Glass.
She says back, oh, I think we've established that I'm already sorry and have been sorry, but until I see my aunt, I'm not budging.
Yes.
Yes, my associates are working on it. And she makes a show of like whispering off mic to Felix. At least in the first few rows, can definitely hear what she's saying. She's like, I don't think he's ready, Felix. They're not going to like what they see. I warned you this was too soon.
You hear in your head, your aunt isn't here, Dr. Glass, so whatever you're doing, it's pointless. And he says, Well, I guess that's about it then. I'll have to make this announcement later. I do appreciate all of your time. Would you please allow our guests to leave, everybody? I understand security is tight, and we always take whatever precautions we can. He smiles, a very, stone-faced, mannequin-like smile, as the doors are opened and you see people rushing out.
She says into his mind, "It's like I told you on the boat, Felix. I never believed that you'd let anyone live anyway. I had to proceed accordingly."
He walks past you and toward the back room as everybody is now leaving.
She does grab his elbow. She grabs his elbow and says, "I still would like a chance to be wrong. I'm glad she's not here. We didn't hurt anyone."
As you grab his elbow, he almost violently pulls it away as if a kid who just got his toy taken away and furiously walks towards the back room.
Trevor, Esper, go with Glass, now.
Yes,
Valadin would stay behind,
starts-
waiting for Felix to walk by.
He does. He walks carefully over the oil slick and brushes by Esper and Trevor as they pass.
Valadin would let him walk past as he drops a lit match into the oil slick and catches up with the others.
He walks past, and so do you, walking through the doorway, dropping a match and lighting the oil in front of the door. Flames erupt in the doorway, separating you from Lord Felix Royce and immediately charring the walls and the ceilings, which are starting to catch as well. And just as this happens, the bottle of oil on the fireplace also explodes, spraying oil across the room, lighting it aflame until the room is now ablaze.
No.
People are running out of the building. And 4 hours, 35 minutes.
Felix.
And this is where we're going to end today's session.
Shazam.
Hell of an episode. We're fucked.
Well, holy shit, that was quite a show.
We are fucked.
I think it goes. It's worth asking. Hey, Hysteria, doing all right?
Yeah.
I have cried during sessions before in character. I had no idea Dr. Glass could cry. During the break, I was thinking about, Trevor's stuff, and I was like, oh, it's funny that I made a character who probably won't have scenes like that, and, won't.
You thought.
That's the problem. Same,
Yeah,
honestly.
I made a Teflon
I was gonna
broad
be
this time. She's not gonna... Yeah, I'm great. But yeah, it's just like you said.
I wanted to make a character so caught up in toxic masculinity that they would never cry in public. And unfortunately, I'm a baby man, so that's what happens sometimes.
I feel like it might be Trevor and Dr. Glass kind of just the combination of the two somehow makes it easier to
trauma bonding.
Yeah. Valadin with every single clutch creative,
making things a bit worse or a bit better. We'll see.
And then Nat one to pick the lock on the door that I was sure my aunt was behind. That was amazing.
I was so ready to be a bowling ball.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the bottle of oil, spilling the oil under the door. It's all really good stuff. The match.
I was like, great, he's gonna come help me break
Fantastic.
the door. I'll get advantage.
This motherfucker here trying to play D&D. Come on.
And I was like, lock them in. And then I was like, that's the stupidest move. Then they're just gonna come here. And then I was like, on the other hand, I don't know what the fuck else we're gonna do.
And Valadin doesn't know either, so he just...
It's something.
I just ripped this
so
doorknob
this is it's a move.
Nylus is standing ready, and then Valadin is like, "Okay, problem solved. Okay, you guys got this."
I remember when I thought the wildest thing for me of the session would be watching three of you completely ignore an off-screen gunshot murder at an asylum.
I assumed there was a patient trying to run away.
I was in love with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then all the Trevor stuff, and then Dr. Glass on her knees begging for her. Oh my god.
Honestly, I in that moment, I was like, because in my head, I'm like, Lord Felix Royce should just apologize and say it's all going to be okay.
I kind of saw that too.
It's like, oh wait, the persuasion roll is going to be incoming. He is breaking down.
Yep. I was having to persuade myself. Okay, like he's gonna be a bad guy. He's gonna go walk right by her. Hey, let's go.
Fun stuff.
Yep.
That was very fun.
I've never been so persuasive in my life.
That was really good stuff. Yeah.